Eric, this topic came from you, or I guess from us sort of collectively after you told me about a really interesting article.
Well, you said you were going to bring it up on like the news or something. I was like, well, let's talk about it.
Well, yeah, let's just talk about it. And that's a really good idea, because I think there are a couple of really interesting questions raised by this article that Eric's going to talk to us about. Today's question has to do with, and I feel like we've done a GNN a long time ago, me and Vince or someone else, about after credit scenes, but if we have, we'll revisit it. This will be one of those revisited. And the question is, are after credit scenes like worth doing at all, or are they just a gimmicky thing? And have we gotten to a place where even if we can come up with good reasons to use them, and I think there are some, they're just horribly oversaturated. So that's the question for today. We're going to put 15 minutes on the clock. And why don't you set this up for us and tell us about that article we read?
Okay. Well, there's kind of two places I think we can bring up with this. One is there was an article. There was an interview with the guy that made Logan, whose name is escaping
James
me.
Mangold.
James Mangold, who basically said, if you have after credit scenes, you made a bad movie. And it's you saying, well, we didn't make a good movie, but here's some fun for you. And that basically it's hacky, and that...
Well, and that it was just supposed to get you excited about the next one.
Yes.
So, like, don't worry if this one sucked. We've got something great for you on the horizon.
Yep.
That was his argument.
Yep. Now, also, a few years ago, Christopher Nolan has said real movies don't have those.
Real movies don't have those.
Which, I think that's still correct.
Wow.
Real movies do not have those.
I don't agree with that.
Okay. But
you can not like that it's there, but it doesn't like destroy the artistry of the whole rest of the movie. And it's easy to look at those as a part, unless, like something with Winter Soldier, there's a piece that honestly should have been in the movie.
Yeah. And that's a huge problem. But I don't know.
But how does it discredit the entire film just because it's there? That would be like saying if there's anything commercial and gimmicky in your movie, it's not a real movie. They're commercial, they're Hollywood films. Like, I don't understand that argument.
I don't know.
I thought that was,
I think it's true enough,
a really pretentious thing for Christopher Nolan.
I think it's true enough to be a truism. I'm not saying it is a blanket across the board statement, but I do kind of agree with that.
Okay, all right.
Marvel's...
I agree that we do it too much, and I get that. I think it would be weird for him to do it. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't feel like something that fits with one of his movies. I thought that was an incredibly pretentious thing that he said.
Marvel becomes a weird thing in all of this because Marvel has built themselves on it, and while they are the one who perpetrates the most, they're kind of the reason we have this.
Yes.
And so they kind of, for me personally, get kind of a loophole where, like, well, they built their whole universe on this. It's everyone else that's the problem. Now, Marvel has its own problems, too.
And we'll talk about them.
With the inability to communicate to the audience and wasting my time. But, no, I can't think of a single film I've seen that has an after-credit scene that's not a Marvel movie that I thought was worth watching. Since the Marvel films. I'm not talking about, like, Ferris Bueller or things like that. And I'll even lump in, like the Deadpool and the X-Men films, I guess, with the Marvel films.
Oh, really?
Deadpool's is really funny.
Yeah, it is.
I mean...
But can't we
all of the after-credit scenes for the X-Men movies suck.
Can we say that this is maybe a case-by-case thing, though?
Okay,
because I'll throw one at you that's not related to those that I know you like.
Okay.
Pacific Rim.
Yeah, but it's just a gag. Yeah, I guess you're right. But that one's not there to sell you anything.
No, it's not.
No, it's just a gag.
Okay, but you're gonna put a caveat on every one.
No, you're right. You're right. No, you're right. You're right. No, that's fair.
And why is that one bad? Where else would you put it?
No, it's not. It's just a fun little thing for people that stuck around.
Well, that's what I like.
But that's what those are supposed to be.
Yeah.
I don't like the commercials. I don't like that sitting through the credits to watch commercials.
But Mangold is making it sound like you should never do it ever. And I love James Mangold. I think he's a wonderful director. I did not fully understand or mostly agree with what he was saying in that article.
I do think that I think a case.
I just think he's being hyperbolic. I like.
But I think a case he and the Christopher Nolan argument is like.
But he's acting like there's only one reason to ever do it, and I don't agree with that.
But I also think that like he made a real movie, and it would be kind of farcical to put that at the end of Logan. And I think, like,
it wouldn't. Yeah, it wouldn't fit probably the tone of that film, depending on what you did with it, and it would be distracting because I mean he wants to leave you with a specific image.
Okay, so
you know what I mean. But okay, go ahead.
Okay, so
should the rule be mostly comedies?
Yes,
Should
that's
that be the
exactly
rule?
what the rule should be.
Okay.
If your film is mostly a comedy, don't do it.
No, you mean do it.
Yeah. If your film is
Or has enough comedic sensibilities. I mean, like it's not like Pacific Rim is a straight up comedy. It's not a straight up.
But
that was
fun,
the big comedic element of it.
But if you're making a very serious drama, you shouldn't do that. And I think you can make an argument for things like Winter Soldier maybe shouldn't have things like that in this context. Not saying Winter Soldier should have had those things, but in this context,
or that it's not a real movie because it was there.
Well, I'm not. I mean, it's
you
real.
can say real movies are too good for those.
Yeah,
but it's not like it declassifies it from being a real movie.
There is a commercial mistake.
The way he said it, it makes it sound like maybe that's not what he meant.
Yeah,
but it just makes it. I just take issue with that. Like,
well, and there is a real like art versus not entertainment, but like art versus commerce kind of a thing.
Of course.
With the fact that the ending of a number of Marvel films are after their credits.
Yeah.
And that's a huge mistake.
No, I think so too.
But what I got from I think he was being hyperbolic, James Mangold, I think he was being a little hyperbolic, but what I got was essentially like we've now turned movies into commercials for other movies.
Yeah.
And that is
always what it is.
The microcosm of, or the like that is the thing that represents that is they have trained you. Because he's talking about culture. We have all been trained like dogs to sit in the movie theater and wait for the commercial for the next movie. And I can see why he'd be angry about that. As a filmmaker, I can see how he would be angry about some of the... Because he's very much talking about culture and what he thinks that's done to culture.
I think part of the reason that it doesn't bother me as much as it does him, and I'm not saying that I love like having to wait around for 15 minutes to see if there's going to be an after credits scene. And like, yes, I realize that there are websites where you can look it up and not be spoiled. But I agree with Eric. He and I have talked about this already. I agree with Eric when he says, "But I shouldn't really have to."
I shouldn't have to do homework to go see a movie,
especially because it's. At least it always used to be. It was supposed to be a surprise. It was supposed to be like just icing on the cake, like just an extra thing. Like, isn't that cool? Here's the thing.
I hate that there's another Marvel movie that comes out that if I make a mistake or like, because that's the thing about this is like, if I want to, I can know what the after credit scene for any Marvel movie is before I see it.
Yeah.
Even if I'm not trying to.
Sure.
I can have that ruined for me.
At one time, I thought people weren't waiting around necessarily to see a commercial for the next film. I thought they were waiting around for some kind of a clever joke. Mm-hmm. And I didn't mind that as much.
No, I don't either.
I have sat in enough theaters now where somebody behind me is like articulating, "Oh boy, I can't wait to see what it's selling me next." You know, we had that guy behind us at Thor Ragnarok that kept yelling about all the action stuff and was like really into that, and got to the end and he was like, "Infinity War!" Like he just couldn't wait for whatever was setting that whole thing up.
Oh, it must be Thanos. It's got to be Thanos. That's probably Thanos there. It was like that.
Yeah, and so
thank God he said Thanos, because I've sat in many a theater where they say Thanatos, and I'm like, get out of my theater. You've read the internet.
I feel like I've sat in theaters where somebody thought it was Darkseid, but I might be wrong about that.
The first time I saw the Avengers, it was Hellboy.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I don't know. I think it's obviously overused and oversaturated. I think it is kind of doing something to the culture where it's people already. Here's what's weird. Okay, you already have a lot of people who go to the movie theater, and it's just. Throwaway entertainment, and they don't think about it 5 seconds after they leave the theater. And to each his own. If you're there just for the roller coaster ride, more power to you.
Absolutely.
But I do think that we've conditioned people who might not otherwise be that way to like not care about the thing they just saw, because all we care about is getting your money in the first place. And so sometimes I think it is designed like selling you the next thing with that movie, or even with the movie you're watching. You know, a lot of people, including myself, initially were concerned about that way back with Iron Man 2. You know, we're just selling Avengers. Mm-hmm. It wasn't as bad about that as I thought it was, but I also don't love that movie. But
but I also think at this point we've now made movies that we've come out and been like, yeah, that's a placeholder. Doctor Strange exists so that we can make Doctor Strange 2. And so Doctor Strange.
And that's a problem. Now, again, it's complicated because you have the aspect of this with the Marvel movies specifically, where it's a movie, it's a story in and of itself, but we're also telling a larger story, and so I don't think it's a problem to seed things. I don't think it's bad to have plot points that would be paid off later on if it's serialized storytelling.
Sure.
That's not the same thing as forget about this movie so that we can sell you the next one. In fact, it's the antithesis to that. It wants you to remember that so that when it pays it off, you can go, oh, cool, I knew about that.
Yeah,
like, and then you're rewarded for
Yeah.
it, and not in a I'm a dumb idiot, for like paying for this movie that I didn't really need to pay for because I was really just there for this other movie that's
No,
going
we
to
got
happen
so
later.
many things when we did Marvel Mania.
Absolutely.
Where we're like, oh, this kind of leads to this and then that.
And we never got to experience that before.
Yeah.
In the movie.
Yeah.
I mean that was a big deal. So that's really cool. But to be sold something just in case this movie actually wasn't that good, so that you forget all about. Like, I see what he's saying. I just feel like he was talking about it like that's all it's for. Like that. Like that's what we're always doing. I think that's a really good. I think what we came up with is a pretty good, solid, like, most of the time rule that, like, rules are meant to be broken. There are times to break that, probably, but usually maybe it should be a comedy before you do an after-credit scene. And Marvel should all be in mid-credit scenes and don't make us wait all day long.
Or always... Or
title and then scene.
So here's
are you with me on that? That almost doesn't even count as a credit scene. I like that.
I don't mind that at all, yeah.
I like title and then... Because you know what that is? That's not an after-credit scene, and we have got to stop calling those that.
It's a stinger, right?
It's an epilogue.
Oh, yes. No, that's totally fair.
That's part of the movie. It would be... Because think about it. If you can have a scene before the credits, why can't you have a scene right after... Or before the title, why can't you have one right after it? Why are cold opens okay, but closing that way isn't okay? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay. So...
That's an epilogue.
So... Here's a horrifying thought I just had.
Oh, good. I love those.
Okay, so I'm going to start by talking about how Marvel needs to get its act together as far as after-credit scenes goes.
Yeah.
Just always an after-credit scene, always a mid-credit scene, something. I can't... You're wasting my time when I have to sit through 10 minutes of just walls of CG artists to get to nothing.
Yeah.
And the entire theater goes, oh, okay. Here's what I just thought of that's horrifying about that. Do you know how to train a dog? Or if you're going to train a person, where you do it on a rewards-based system, and then you start weaning them off of the rewards, and you don't give them that? And so sometimes they get a reward, and sometimes they don't?
Yeah.
Are they literally training us like dogs?
Like it's a Pavlovian thing?
Yes!
Wow. That's interesting. I don't think so. I don't think it's intentional because I think...
I don't know. I thought of that, like, when I said dogs earlier, I was like, oh, man.
That is a really horrifying conspiracy theory. What I think is going on... What I think is going on is... it's become trendy, not just trendy, but like the normal thing to do with Marvel. I don't even think, and I could be wrong about this, what do I know? I'm not there. I don't think there's even a mandate from on high. I think every director that's worked for them is excited to get to do one.
Except they don't always get to do one. A lot of times it's the director from the next movie that gets to do it.
It's true. So that would be, you're right, now that I'm saying that. As soon as I said that, I was like, no, I'm wrong. So that means it is a thing that the studio is always deciding.
And they also need to have more oversight. It is unacceptable to me.
Know, here's the thing. The studio decides one, but they don't necessarily decide two. Right?
Well, and the studio obviously didn't decide Guardians, like, 5. Guardians Volume 2 is, like, 5, and Guardians.
And now, see, that doesn't bother me as much.
No, not at all.
Especially because time passes, and that gives you a good transition so that you could jump time and have like teenage Groot and all that.
Well, actually, okay, you know what? It does bother. Okay, here's what bothers me. It is unacceptable to me that the scene that I had to sit through
I
all
like
of
that
the...
better than outtakes. Can I say that?
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Depends on the movie. Sometimes outtakes are fun, but
I wouldn't want them for the
Marvel movies.
I like
Man,
the
that would
one
be awful.
in Toy Story 2.
Well, yeah, but those aren't real. Those are fun.
Well, it is a two-movie.
A two-movie. That's great.
No, I think it is unacceptable that I had to sit through all of the credits for Guardians of the Galaxy to get an after-credit scene that we abandoned.
Mm-hmm.
And then...
That's a whole other topic.
And then I sat through the credits of Guardians of the Galaxy 2 to be told, you remember that last credit scene? Doing it differently now. Because it also set up Adam Warlock, but in a completely different way. Also, apparently, at the end of...
Well, I mean, the Howard the Duck thing was cool.
No, that was fine. No, I'm annoyed by the fact that James Gunn said the important thing in that scene is that the cocoon was open and Adam Warlock was out.
And it was not the important thing, because they gave it
and
to
then,
him again. Yeah.
And then he has that...
I forgot that was in
There's
there.
that cool stinger at the end of Guardians 2, where they have the original Guardians there, right?
Yes.
The Reavers, whatever they called them?
Yeah.
He said that might not even be important for a sequel. They just thought it was fun to do. Wasting my time.
Not just wasting your time, but if you're not planning on something, don't do that with Stallone of all people.
Yeah.
Because
and Mike Rosenbaum.
How many people, right, Icehead guy, how many people, especially older people in the audience, who didn't know, because you know most of the people who went to that movie had no idea Stallone was in it.
Yeah.
He surprised everybody, which was fun.
Yeah.
But he surprised everybody.
Yeah.
You had to have had people that went into that movie and saw Stallone and were like, "Why, you're going to have Stallone for this real bit part?" And then he's in that after credits scene. Oh, see, we're setting him up. He's going to do something. Yeah. So, but the thing is, you can tease people and screw with them any place in your movie. The problem with that is not where it lands, it's that you're screwing with people, but it's more likely to happen because you just threw it in as a gag, and then you're not...
But we've now been trained that these are not places to do jokes.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes they're jokes. You are telling us this is the next movie we're getting.
It's going to matter, yeah.
Yeah. I would never complain about the shawarma scene at the end of Avengers. If the shawarma scene
it wasn't important. You didn't have
if the shawarma scene at the end of Avengers had like Kang sitting there, and then we go and do Ultron next.
Well, and that was an afterthought. Like that started this whole mid-credit, after-credit thing that we do sometimes and we don't do other times. But you can't blame Whedon for it because that was just a thing they had lying around. He was like, I think it would be really fun to throw in there, or it was a thing they shot later way later, and they thought it was funny. I saw that movie a little early, and it didn't have it yet.
And the international cut didn't have it either, I believe.
Well, that makes sense. I think I saw it 3 or 4 days early.
It didn't have it till it released here. Yeah, I don't know.
So, final thoughts on this. I don't know how to solve it, because the thing is, it's going to always feel oversaturated because doing it. I feel like you could get to where no other company is doing it, and people would still wait all the way to the end because of the people who go to the cherry-picked Marvel movies they want to see and still don't even realize or care that they're related. Don't you think there are still people like that who, like, I think most people know that these characters are all connected in the same universe, but there's got to be still some people that just go because of an actor they like, because of a character, right? Like,
I don't actually think that's what it is at this point. I think most people at this point think all of the superhero movies are connected. I don't think it's that they don't know it's connected. I think they think they're all connected.
Yeah. That's probably more like. Well, you remember.
I remember going to Justice League and seeing the woman in front of us ask for Avengers, and then talking to my father, and he said, "Did you see the new Avengers?"
Yeah.
No, they think they're all connected.
It was hilarious. Talking to her father. You said my father. It wasn't your father.
No, talking to my father. That was a woman. The woman in front of us said to the person at the counter, "Can I see? Or I want to get for Avengers or whatever it is."
Uh-huh.
And then 2 days later, I talked to my father on the phone,
I see what you're
and he said, "Did you see the Avengers movie?"
I'm sorry, I missed that. I didn't know what you're talking about. I totally thank you for explaining that. I had no idea that we were in another scene at that point.
Yeah, sorry. I should have done a seed break. Okay, so I'm going to amend what I said earlier, which is...
Sure, yeah.
Not that almost any movie I've seen outside of Marvel that does after credits scenes, I don't care about that movie. Because I have thought of a couple where that's not true. Unless it's a gag like Pacific Rim, I can't think of any other studio where I've seen an after credit scene that I felt was worth my time, or that I liked, or that actually paid off. Because the X-Men has had some exciting ones that then were nothing.
Yeah, and I didn't need...
I don't like the one at the end of Kong.
I was about to say that. I didn't need the Godzilla one in Kong because you could have made that cleverly clear somewhere inside the movie.
Well, and I also felt like if you don't know Godzilla, that told you nothing, except I guess that there's going to be other monsters. And if you did know Godzilla, you know what the monsters in the next Godzilla movie are. Because they told us that right up front after the first one.
Yeah.
We've known that for years.
Yeah, but I think here's the thing, though. I think what they were, to be fair, I think what they were doing with that is they expected that you wouldn't know like there would be like people who know what Godzilla is that saw the last Godzilla movie and didn't know that the King Kong movie was related to it, and they would get to that after credit scene, they would hear Godzilla and go, oh, holy crap.
Yeah,
like,
okay.
That should be cool. I feel like there's a better way to do it. Honestly, I would have, once again, if you had to have that, I mean, I think there's way more interesting ways to do it. If you had to have that, once again, and maybe this is going to be my answer to everything, have the logo and then immediately go to it. But also,
that is what we should go to.
But also, it would be really nice to do some kind of a time jump somewhere toward the end of that movie so we have a sense that there's a connective tissue that's going to get us to present day. You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't think I would have wanted to go through that whole movie and it all be a period piece and not realize they're going to catch up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the other thing that after credit scene gives you. I think that actually gives you quite a bit if you didn't know. You have a different perspective because you knew all that going in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do think it's overused at this point. I think we should stick to outside of Marvel, mostly comedies.
I want to be able to be surprised by it. When I was a kid, it was such a luxury when we did it. It's not like we never had them, but it was really unusual to have them. But also, you didn't have to wait around for credits all the time. Like, if we could somehow, and it's impossible, but if it were possible to truncate the credits where they were like 3 to 5 minutes, I don't know that we'd be having this conversation as
well. And one of my favorite,
I mean, I don't think it would bother
one of my favorite things was years later discovering something had an after credit scene. I think I talked about it in the commentary. I did not know The Last Stand had a credit scene for years.
Yeah.
And then my friends and I just left it on playing. We were like, wait, what's happening? There's a scene? I had the same thing with the Super Mario Bros. Movie. I watched that many times, and then I got to the end of it one day, and I was like, there's an after credits scene?
I've told a lot of people about the one in Masters of the Universe.
Yeah.
And people didn't know it. I saw that on TV. They left it in.
Nice.
On the TV edit when I was a kid. This was like 91, 92, like they left it in.
Yeah, no, that's fun. Like you're discovering something.
Yeah. But like nothing's a mystery anymore because of the internet, and it's the same.
And because it's not a mystery, and because it's not like a surprise
and stuff.
Put it after the title.
Yeah.
Like you're wasting my time. Like just put it after the title. We all know you're not surprising us. You know what'd be the biggest surprise if we sat through the credits for the entire Marvel movie and there was nothing. I mean, I'd be angry because they wasted my time, but...
Yeah, and then it would just be that Pavlov thing.
Yeah, then that would be. Yeah, sometimes you don't get it.
Now you're just conditioned to be angry.
Give me more money.
Because then the next time, when you got one, you'd be more angry. Because you'd be like, see, I don't even know!
I'm so confused.
Let's go ahead and move on to rant, shall we?
That's good that was on my phone. So you go first.
Looking forward to the comments and seeing what people think, how people feel at this point about after credit scenes. It's been a long time since we've talked about that. If we did do it, and it's affected the culture even more. You know, so it'll be interesting to see what people think, and if they agree with what James Mangold said in that article. We'll try to remember to put that in the comments. Okay, so this is a rant that I might have done before on GNN. I can't remember. I don't think I have. I wrote a Facebook post about it, and I want to actually do it on camera because I think it's obnoxious and important, and I want to talk about it.
Absolutely. I agree.
Netflix is
preemptively. I agree.
Obnoxious.
Yes.
With what they've started to do regarding when their videos will play, regardless of whether or not you told it to. Netflix is more and more, at least with this kind of thing, and don't get me wrong, I love a lot of things about Netflix, especially a lot of their programming, their their own stuff, but it's getting like YouTube where it should be up to me. I should get to make these decisions, not you. And I don't like...
Do you remember the other day when we were watching YouTube and we could not figure out what was playing?
That was the biggest mystery of the month, my friend. I have no idea what was going on. We were watching a video. We're watching a video. And some other video was playing.
We scrolled through the entire page, couldn't find another video. We were like, oh, it must be in one of these other tabs. Close all the other tabs. Nothing. Close the window. It stopped.
Yeah, it was on that window, but it was cloaked. It had a Romulan cloaking device, this video. I don't even know what it was. Was it a commercial?
It was some commercial.
All right, anyway, so... No, you're fine. That was hilarious. So, you expect when you go to Netflix that you're gonna go down all the choices, because there's lots of choices. You know, you got all these boxes with names of things that you might want to watch, right? And you get really distracted when it starts telling you, when it starts playing a thing that you haven't even selected before you told it to play it. Worse than that is the fact that if your internet connection isn't great right then, like just good enough to play video, but not to do much else on top of it, it's going to slow everything down. So that's really irritating. But the worst thing, I think the worst offense, the most offensive thing about this is that they don't just. So if you have not experienced this, and like I don't know if it happens. No, I think it does happen on a web browser too. But so. Especially Roku, it drives me crazy.
It happens on my PlayStation.
Does it? It's obnoxious with Roku because, at least with mine, it's not. There's a little bit of a lag, so it's not the most responsive thing in the first place, and so it's even slower when that happens. But like, I'm scrolling through Star Trek episodes, and I want to watch an episode, but I haven't decided what I'm gonna pick yet. I've stopped for a second to read a synopsis or whatever I'm doing, and it starts playing the episode from the beginning. Okay. It's going to remember where that started next time. That's a thing to keep in mind, is that when you do select that, you're going to have to roll it back to the beginning, probably. But the most offensive thing about it is that when you start on the home screen, if you don't start moving around right away, it will play a trailer for whatever is being advertised to you at the top of the screen. I don't have a problem with banners. I don't have a problem with the fact that it's trying to sell me its own program.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I might not ever find out about some of those things. Or I might not realize the thing I was excited about is about to come out or coming out next week. I wouldn't know about David Letterman's new show if it weren't for that.
Didn't know he had a new show.
Yeah, he's doing it's called My Next Guest. And it's a monthly show. It's just one a month, and it's 60 minutes with one guest on a stage. And his first guest was Barack Obama, and his next guest, which I think this just dropped yesterday, the day before, is a George Clooney.
Cool.
And it's a neat show, yeah. But anyway, I wouldn't have known about that. So I don't mind that that Netflix has its own advertising. I don't mind it with YouTube either. Don't play the video, and like you have a trailer function. Let me press the trailer. It does not care if my kids are in the room. And it will play things that are not appropriate for my kids.
Yeah, I started watching Altered Carbon, which I might mention slightly later in the program. I probably won't go into detail because I only watched 2 episodes. But I started watching that.
Sure.
I don't think you can cut a trailer for that that's kid-appropriate.
There have been things where, I don't mean that there's been like a lot of vulgarity and stuff necessarily. I don't watch them long enough to know.
But there's been some violence.
But there's some violence. There's some just like
hardcore Netflix violence.
Generically. Like really creepy and ominous stuff that might bother your kids, and they're like, I just think that's like really unfair to the viewer.
And
like,
you shouldn't. It shouldn't.
It's really inconsiderate.
You're not going to just because your kids are in the room. Like, let's say you're sitting down to watch something with your kids.
Yeah.
You're not going to go to the kids account when you're using it, right? Like, and that's because I think people are going to say that. It's like, well, you can set up an account just for your kids. When you're picking a movie,
yeah.
You're not gonna, and you're gonna go to, maybe you're not gonna pick like a kids movie. Like maybe you're gonna watch Star Trek. I'm sure Star Trek is on the kids thing.
It is, but
why
there
would
are
you
other
go
things
why would you go to kids? Why wouldn't you just use the account you normally use?
And you should.
So that's not a fair defense.
Yeah, and like that's all true, but you shouldn't have to do that.
No, you shouldn't.
And even if you don't like my argument that like the kids might be in the room, okay, it still shouldn't play videos until I tell it to.
Yeah.
That should be up to me.
Yep.
I don't like that. And like I said, it'll slow you down, and it just makes it difficult to get to the thing you want to in a timely fashion.
We have had some doozies trying to watch Star Trek.
We really have. So anyway, that it really affects the enjoyment of your experience, and it's like imagine if it's exactly the same thing as when you're trying to read an article. And this happens all the time too, and on a website, and it's like popping up things for like other articles it wants you to read, or to like try to sign into the website and stuff like that, where it just blocks you from doing what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
And I don't understand. Besides the commercial thing, I don't even understand how that's useful for them. Is it view gouging? Like I don't even know what it is.
Yeah, I don't know.
All it does is make me irritated. I don't know how that's helpful for them. And it's gotta. And the thing is, it's gotta make their ratings really inaccurate, unless they don't count anything that's not watched, unless it's for a certain amount of minutes. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, do you have a rant? Because you didn't have your notes because of your phone.
I had a rant. I'm trying to remember what it was.
Oh no. You of all people should be able to come up with something to complain about.
That's true.
In 10 seconds. I'll give you a minute. I'm just going to drink my pineapple drink here. This iced pineapple stuff, by the way, is delightful. very good.
I'm trying to think of something that's not. Because most of the things at this point that make me angry in my life are working customers. I'm trying to think of something that's not.
You already ranted about this.
I've done a number of those.
And you did a pop rant on the.
I did do what
after dark.
Discussion. It was not a rant. It was a discussion.
That's true.
It was me posing a question.
I'm sorry, but you could have made that a rant.
I could have made that a rant.
And you would say all the same things you said.
I would, but that was more as a question than an actual like rant.
Does it bother you when people, maybe we've maybe talked about this before. I was just looking at your shirt. Does it bother you when somebody's wearing a shirt like that and it seems like really cool and like insider, and then you talk to them and they have no idea what they're wearing?
Yes. You know who I am. Why would that not bother me? Why would that not drive me to the moon?
Have you run into that?
No, but I told you I saw someone the other day that had Star Labs, and I was gonna be like, oh, it's a really cool shirt.
That's right.
And I was like, oh no, it's
you wore
only
it
because of Flash. I hate you. I hate you so much. No, that's not fair. But
this might turn into a.
It's not connected to 911 yet.
If you have no rant, we can just move on.
No, surely I must have something.
He's not gonna let this go. He's like, I have got to complain about something.
Okay. Yeah, I've got something. This will be kind of news, kind of ranty.
Cool.
So you know how...
Be a good segue, too, because you know what the next segment is on the Omnibus. It is.
We all know that The Mummy came out and was a colossal failure.
That's right. Did it have an after-credit scene?
I didn't wait around to see.
I would have expected that, of all things, to have an after-credit scene.
Surely it must have, yes. Okay, so...
I'm very excited to see if that's on Eric's worst of movies list for last year.
Well, are we still doing multiple?
If you wanna. I wrote down...
Because you said one.
I said just one, but then I thought of more, so I wrote them down. So you can mention runner-ups,
Okay. I mean, I have
you
three.
You have some, yeah, sure.
I can do 4. I can probably stretch it to 5. Anyways, okay. So...
Stay tuned.
So, they announced the Dark Universe. They made a big press release for the Dark Universe, right? And then one of the...
Never have I seen it as news that we had a logo for a shared universe.
And the trailer was cut from the 30s and 40s films. Did you see the trailer?
Yeah. Well, I heard you talk about it. I didn't actually see it.
It was hilarious. Anyways,
sorry.
Imagine cutting black and white films as if they were modern day action films.
Yeah.
Like, it's a masterpiece. So they announce it. They announce all of these different movies and these different actors.
Yeah.
So we know like Johnny Depp's going to be the Invisible Man. We know... and we know the next film is going to be directed by the person that did Beauty and the Beast. It's going to be Bride of Frankenstein. Mummy comes out, failure. And then I read an article about this, and it's the saddest thing ever. They took an entire building and furnished it with like wax, like statues of like the Universal monsters, and like had all this memorabilia and stuff. And apparently it just sits vacant now. Invested millions of dollars into this.
Wow.
Okay, so everyone knows this is a failure. They have to go back to the drawing board, right? About a week ago, they released an image that just has a sign that says "Beware of the Wolf" with a claw through it. This wasn't even one of the movies they originally announced that they were making. And like you're gonna put out like an ambiguous like teaser image for a movie no one knew was coming for your failed franchise.
Well, maybe that's how they're gonna restart it.
This will be the 3rd time.
Yeah.
And they already tried it with the Wolfman.
Oh. Was that supposed to be a shared universe?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I did see that movie in theaters.
Was that bad?
It's not as bad as everybody says. And I also think that there is a longer cut of that movie that's probably really good. Or at least good.
I mean, those are dime a dozen right now. We talk about
And that was a movie that he made right before he made First Avenger.
Here's the thing, though.
So that was troubling.
To be fair, I don't think you can begrudge them trying it again if they sunk that much money into it.
Here's what I begrudge. Giving me no context. Everyone knew you were going to fail because you put Kurtzman in charge. So they're pretending like this is the first time, right? Like, is that what you're saying? Like, they're pretending like blank slate. We never even announced it. Like they have to acknowledge. They're not giving me any context. They're not telling me it's a reboot. They're not telling me they're keeping going. They're not telling me they're getting rid of Tom Cruise. They're keeping Tom Cruise. You know what gets me excited? Announcing someone that I care about working on the movie. Say, you know what? We realized what we should have done in the first place. We gave the whole thing to Guillermo del Toro. He's going to do it. Shape of Water was secretly the first film in the Dark Universe. It would have been amazing.
I have a hard time not thinking that and I mean, I'm not a big monster guy. You might not agree with this. The whole shared universe idea. This might seem counterintuitive at first, but I think it could have been a really cool backdoor thing. I think you start with Invisible Man, like
that could have been cool,
and that could have been really cool. You start with a human, and you work your way to the monsters.
And you also because
Invisible Man's not really a monster.
You also are an actual shared universe. There is no Avengers movie there. Like, maybe you get all the monsters together to, like, do a romp or whatever, but, like, those movies are the lesser thought of films of the Universal film franchise. Like, House Dracula, House Frankenstein, these are not beloved films. It's a universe that should function like Stephen King's books, where, like, they reference each other and they mention each other. You know it's all taken by the same universe, and sometimes characters come over from one another. You can't be building to the Avengers.
No, and I mean, and it would also be really easy to have one character who winds up in a lot of those movies, kind of like the Night Nurse or something.
Yeah, which is what I think they were setting Tom Cruise up to be.
Really?
I don't know. He's something.
Or like Agent Coulson or something.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing. But yeah, I don't think it should be the build to a team movie.
Well, and the team movie's counterintuitive when they're monsters.
Because it's not a team. They're not superheroes.
Well, and they've all been beaten already.
That's a good point.
Right? Like,
yeah,
they're all going to end with them losing, and then you're going to put them all together and be like, now you have to deal with all of it. It's like, well, we did. We did do this.
Strength in numbers.
They're going to switch, right? Like, that's how the monsters are going to... It's like, well, he beat the Mummy, so Mummy, you go after the guy that beat Creature Black Lagoon. Like, that's how they get him.
That's hilarious. Folks, that's going to do it for us for GNN today. Sure appreciate it. Sure appreciate you watching. And if you're watching the Omnibus, make sure to stick around because we've got so much more stuff to talk about. And if you're just watching this as its own video, we sure appreciate you clicking on it. If you have a cool idea for something we might talk about on Geeks Not Nerds or for anything else, any other show that we do here, leave a comment, or the best way to get our attention would be to send us a personal message on Facebook or send us a tweet and we will take a look at it and we will consider all of your ideas.